Hailing frequencies open, and welcome to Star Trek Discoverage, the live podcast that boldly goes into excruciating detail about this week's episode of Star Trek Discovery. I'm your host, Aaron Coker, aka Caliban, and let's try to make this quick. I've got a saxophone lesson to get to. Joining me on the show, as usual, is my co-host. She's also the co-host of the Generations Geek podcast, a more or less family-friendly celebration of geekdom. It's Ella Pearson. Ella, welcome back to Discoverage.
Thank you.
It's great to have you back. It's great to be back. It has been 5 months since we have gathered to talk about Trek. Trekless for 5 months. How's your shore leave been?
Big. I moved.
Oh, okay.
Which is why there's a bunch of empty walls behind me and one extension cord.
Yeah, sure. Are you settling in okay?
I'm racing now. So I'm basically not a nerd anymore. I'm like into sports.
Oh, okay,
so
cool.
That's been big.
All right, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard about sports
that I've made. Mm-hmm.
Comes highly recommended. Well, that's all good. Hopefully, you'll have fun putting stuff up on your walls. I didn't want to assume because you tend to move around. Sometimes you're over here, you're broadcasting over there. You keep it mobile, and I like that. That's good. Yeah. It's been a little strange because, normally it's felt like old times because in the old days, you just waited a long time. You waited the entire summer, sometimes longer for more new shows, but not after going through the 29 weeks of Trek or whatever it was. And then the 48 weeks of Trek and then, no Trek for 5 months. It's like a weird convergence. Where there's nothing to watch, but yeah, it's back and it's back in, and it's good to be here. This is the part of the show where we usually talk about the news in the world of Trek, and since it has been 5 months since we've talked about Trek, there's a lot of news to catch up on. There's some very big stories from the world of Trek that have happened in the last 5 months. Much like how some people might watch a reminder video, here's what happened last time on Star Trek Discovery to catch you up. Maybe we should do that with some of the Trek news and remind ourselves what's going on in the greater world of Trek. But we don't want to spend the whole show doing this, so I've prepared a précis from a summary of the news in headline form. So are you ready for this? I'm going to take you through bit by bit. Okay. So starting off in late December of last year, it was announced that Warner Brothers Discovery and Paramount Global were in merger talks. There's going to be a lot of talk about mergers in this recap, endless merger talks. But this effort would quickly fall apart, mainly to the diving stock prices of Warner Brothers in Q4 of 2023. The Flash, excuse me. So yeah, Warner Brothers not doing so good. Couldn't back that up, their bid to buy Paramount Global. Also in December, it was announced that National Amusements, which is the parent company of Paramount and CBS, experienced a data breach where hackers stole the personal information of tens of thousands of their customers, which is bad. What's really bad is that the breach occurred in December of 2022, and they were just now announcing that information. So they sat on that information for a year. I don't know why they did. Near the end of the month, Paramount Global signed a cable carriage deal with Comcast as more acquisition or merger rumors swirled around Paramount. We get to 2024. In January, Patrick Stewart, with the release of his new autobiography, Making It So, said in an interview that a Picard Star Trek movie is in the works. And that's the end of the story. He said that. People are like, really? What's it about? No more information, but as far as we know...
I don't think I saw that.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart says it's happening, so whether or not that's true, I'm sure he's be a producer on the project. Also, Paramount Plus in January lost classic Star Trek films as they moved to stream exclusively on Max. So you want to see Star Trek V, and I know you do, you have to go to Max. Or you can buy it on Apple TV, I guess, if you want to do that. Also in January, it was revealed that not only was Star Trek IV still in development, but an additional Star Trek feature was being developed as a separate project to be directed by Toby Haynes, who was a producer, writer, and director on Andor, and also from a script from Seth Grahame-Smith, who was remember the Pride and Prejudice and Zombies book? He wrote that book.
Yeah.
And has screenwritten some other stuff. A later Variety article added that the movie will serve as an origin story origin story of sorts for the main timeline of the entire franchise. So, an origin of Star Trek. I don't know if that means Gene Roddenberry is getting back from World War II and he's like, oh, what should I do with my life? I don't know if
That
they
would be
mean.
kind of sick, actually.
I'm amazed they haven't Tolkiened Roddenberry yet. You know, he's got to think about his whole life before he invents Star Trek, but we'll see. And the movie is reportedly on track to start pre-production by the end of the year and could be in theaters by 2026, the 60th anniversary of the franchise. So it's at this point, it's like a running gag that like it'll be out before Star Trek 4 is out, but it looks like if it happens at all, it'll be out before Star Trek 4 is out. So there you go. In early January, the space company Astrobiotic carried out a controversial mission to deliver the ashes of some celebrities to the moon, among them the ashes of DeForest Kelley, Nichelle Nichols, and James Doohan, and also Gene Roddenberry. But a mission failure meant the craft would not achieve the moon, but was instead directed back to Earth, where it burned up upon re-entry. So, womp womp. Also, sad news, Star Trek Enterprise star Gary Graham passed away on January 22nd of 2024 from cardiac arrest at the age of 73. Graham played the Vulcan Soval on all 4 seasons of Enterprise and also appeared on Star Trek Voyager as well as in the Alien Nation TV show. Late January, Skydance Media makes an offer to buy Paramount Global. I'll talk more about this later. Also, billionaire investor Byron Allen made a $14 billion offer to buy Paramount Global. And at the end of January, the cast for Star Trek Section 31, the TV film movie, was announced. There's nothing specific to say. It's a lot of actors that I don't really know. There is one specific thing that I'll talk about a little later. In February, Paramount started February off by laying off 800 employees as the CEO, Bob Bakish, cited the need to cut costs. Also probably trimming up, for that sale. In the first week of February, the Saturn Awards gave the Trek franchise 5 awards, including Paul Wesley winning Best Guest Star for his portrayal of James T. Kirk, Patrick Stewart winning Best Actor in a Television Series, Jonathan Frakes winning Best Supporting Actor in a Television Series, Jerry Ryan winning Best Supporting Actress in a television series, and The Picard Show as a whole winning Best Science Fiction Television Series. Also, the cast of Star Trek TNG were awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award. So I don't know if they have to share that or they just, they all get their own probably. In March, Paramount and Comcast were reportedly considering a streaming partnership. Also in March, Terry Matalas said in an interview that Picard Season 2 was rewritten after Paramount deemed it too Star Trek. So that might explain some of what was going on in Season 2, like drinking a potion to summon Q and the X-Files thing. I don't know. Also, in an interview, Alex Kurtzman says that the Starfleet Academy series, which is in development, may not arrive until 2026. More merger news. Apollo Global, an asset management firm, offered to buy Paramount for $11 billion. That offer would later increase to $26 billion. And some really big news. On March 23rd, Star Trek Prodigy Season 2 premiered in France. Have you seen it? Have you seen our episodes in French about the French version of Star Trek Prodigy Season 2? It's out. Apparently there was a miscommunication and they released it in France. Now, I haven't seen it, not for lack of trying. If it comes out on Netflix and it's in France, you can switch it to like English language, right? Just like you can do that here if I'm a French person here and I want to see it in French. So I'm assuming it exists in a multilingual form somewhere out there. So if you want to watch it, we're going to cover it when it comes out officially, but it's out there, so it exists. Also that week, it was announced that Star Trek 4 has a new screenwriter. Welcome to the party, Steve Yockey, the co-creator of The Flight Attendant show. It was also revealed that Casey Roll would be playing Rachel Garrett, a young Rachel Garrett, in the Section 31 movie. For people who don't remember, Rachel Garrett was the captain of the Enterprise C, seen in the episode Yesterday's Enterprise of TNG. And in the last week of March, there was a front page story in Variety on Star Trek called The Future of Star Trek. And at this point, we've actually covered most of the news and announcements from that story already. But it was confirmed that Star Trek Discovery and Fear the Walking Dead writer Kalinda Vasquez was still working on her original idea for another Star Trek feature, a third Star Trek motion picture feature in development. We reported on that in 2001. And last week, the Hugo Award nominations were announced, and Star Trek Strange New Worlds received 2 nominations in the category of Best Dramatic Presentation Short Form for the episodes Those Old Scientists and Subspace Rhapsody. And one last story, more merger talk. Just last week, it was announced Paramount has rejected the offer from Apollo Global. The Warner Brothers deal seems dead, and I don't think they ever got back to Byron Allen. But they have entered into an exclusive set of talks with Skydance Media about a possible merger. So we'll have more information on that story as it develops. So that's it. You can't say we didn't.
And
report
that's what
the
you
news.
missed on Glee.
What's that?
And that's what you missed on Glee.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, right. And now tonight on our show. Yeah.
Per usual, somehow, I am still getting, even after 5 months of not seeing you every Thursday, I'm still getting some of my Star Trek news fresh on this show.
Well, I'm glad somebody does.
The thing with the ashes, that was a wild ride. I had no idea. Every word that came out of your mouth, I had no idea what the next word was going to be.
It was crazy because this company is just one of these like space companies that's trying to get into the space thing, and they wanted to land a probe on the moon. And it contained ashes of former presidents and other celebrities and Star Trek celebrities. And a lot of people were like, is this a good idea? And there was a specific, I think there was 1 or 2 Navajo groups who like sued to stop it, or at least like protested it and said, you know, the moon is like sacred to us and our religion, and also just to people in general. Do you want to put trash on the moon and like dead people on the moon? Like, don't do that. And they're like, whatever. But like in getting it to the moon, they screwed up, and it was either going to just go off forever, or they're like, just send it back to Earth and let it burn up. So that's what happened.
Oh,
so
God, that's crazy.
Every time they try to shoot poor Jimmy Doohan into space, something like this happens. So maybe they should just stop trying to do that. Yeah.
Oh my God.
These are all interesting stories. I wanted to talk. I guess I kind of wanted to talk about the Rachel Garrett thing, although there's not a lot to say. That just sort of reveals that at least part of Star Trek, the Section 31 movie, will take place, before yesterday's Enterprise, in the late 22nd century, probably. So I guess that's interesting. I don't know enough about business and stuff to really have an opinion on the merger talk, although I think that Sherry Redstone this has been her plan forever, right? She's been trying to get CBS and Paramount to merge and succeeded at that. And so now she wants to sell the whole kit and caboodle off. So whether that will have any effect on new Star Trek or what happens in the future, I don't know. But it is something to look at for sure.
I mean, I think definitely you and I should go in with 20 billion.
Yeah, let me see. I got my wallet here.
I feel like between the two of us,
let's take a check.
We could scrape that up.
Yeah.
We could make some real change in the Star Trek world.
I mean, that's the way that it's going. It would be great.
I mean, so do you think that Paramount is like bankrupt? Like, what's going on?
No, I don't think that it's bankrupt. Maybe. I don't know. You look at like Warner Brothers, Bugs Bunny, The Matrix, all this stuff. And the margins are so thin, I think, in Hollywood. They spend billions to make a few more billions. And plus this isn't United Artists. It's not like Charlie Chaplin and Mary Pickford are going to make some movies. Like, these are all bankrolled and supported by hedge funds and asset managers, and everybody wants to squeeze profit out of it. So like, I am not a big fan of Terry Matalas. I know that he's a really nice guy. I'm not a big fan of his writing, but I know he loves Star Trek, and I would be more than happy to let him just run Star Trek and write fun, creative things forever, rather than see the franchise go where it's going, which is just managed by hedge fund managers who go, this will probably make 250 million, so we'll spend 45 million, and it's all the bean counters and the spreadsheets. I know that this has always been something that Hollywood has to deal with, but it just, all media is getting this way. You heard about The Matrix 5, right?
No.
I love blowing your mind every week. They're making The Matrix. They're making The Matrix 5. Lily Wachowski, Lana.
Like they're good. Like they're making it. Like they're filming it.
Yeah, Lana
But
Wachowski.
I haven't even seen The Matrix, so what are we gonna do?
Oh, yeah, I forget how old you are. Never mind. Anyway, but they're gonna make a Matrix 5, even though The Matrix 4 was like both an intended warning to not making any Matrixes and more Matrixes, and also in practice a warning to not making any more Matrix films. But yeah, they'll be making another one of those, and so Space Jam 2, starring our girl Sonequa. That's just the way that Hollywood it works now, and so I guess Star Trek has to be a part of that. And you know, every week I come on and say, "Where's Star Trek 4?" And I used to say that hopefully, like, I want to see those guys again. Now I say it like, just do it. Just do it to me. Because it's going to be good or bad. It's probably going to be bad. But at this point, Paramount and Star Trek need to be in this race. Warner Brothers can make bad DC movie after bad, terrible movies. And they just keep chugging. You know, they keep going. They're in the game. Paramount's not even in the game. Like, they got to get a Star Trek movie out. Let it be bad. We're going to reboot. There'll be another one again.
Or like fun bad? Because I feel like
fun bad would be great, but even bad bad would be good.
I watch a lot of movies that I love. Like I think a lot of people like. If you start breaking down even Star Trek 2009, I love that movie to death. I love it more than life. I know every single word. Okay,
I've said,
but why are there a bunch of pipes filled with water on the Enterprise? Like,
yeah, right, yeah.
It is silly, and like that's fine, you know.
I've seen it like 15 times without wanting to, just having to cover it so many times on my shows, and I've slowly, I don't know if I've fallen in love with it, but I'll give it a nod as I pass it in the hallway. Do you know what I mean? Like I've come to respect it and enjoy it. And so
after the 15th viewing, you're like, all right, I'm just starting to get it.
I see you, yeah. But they just need to make one. Just do it already. Like, what the hell's the problem? So we'll see.
Also, I feel like nobody's making like good summer. The last few years, there's been no good like summer blockbuster action movies.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, nobody's making like post-COVID. I haven't really been going to the theater.
Yeah.
Like just because I got out of the habit, but also there's nothing to see because when I do want to go to the theater, I go on and I say what's playing, and it's all a bunch of garbage.
Yeah.
Respectfully, I guess.
Yeah, I saw a movie the other night, and like every there was like 12 trailers, and every single one of them looked like a movie that would be a movie in a movie. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're characters are coming out of a movie theater, and you see like joke posters, it's like. They took all those and made them into movies. Yeah.
What it feels like, we went to see a special like re-release of Dune at the AMC in Roseville.
Oh, okay.
And there was like, I swear to you, 30 straight minutes of trailers. So like every time a new trailer started, we would start laughing because like, why is there another trailer playing?
Yeah.
And then every single trailer was like, why is this like Godzilla versus Kong versus Baby Kong versus big interdimensional hole in the ocean?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, Dune was okay. I'm not a big Dune head like some people, but Dune 2 was good. But it's almost like Warner Brothers is like, oh, geez, we got one. They like that one? Oh, good. All right, great. Yeah, do a third one. So who knows?
I know, which is great because I'm like, please let him keep doing what he's doing because I haven't read Dune Messiah, but I'm kind of like, I want him to make one more movie. I love this.
That's why I really would love to have a beer with Terry Metalis and then hit him over the back of the head when we leave the bar. But I say let him cook, you know, because they're letting Villeneuve cook. And he's making Dune movies. It's the trying to figure out what everybody wants and going, is this it? And, ooh, they're going to like this. And just get somebody, just let them cook. And
even just the bagpipes and that lady screaming on the score.
The bagpipes,
My God.
Good stuff.
Oh, God, it's a masterpiece.
All right. Well, before this turns into a dude podcast, we should probably talk about Star Trek. We've just seen the first and second episodes of the fifth and final season of Star Trek Discovery, episodes entitled Red Directive and Under the Twin Moons. And we're here to talk all about them. But first, as always, a warning: we're setting a course for the spoiler zone, listeners. So be warned, we're glad that you've decided to join us. But if you haven't seen the episodes, spoilers are incoming. The official synopsis for Red Directive is: Captain Burnham and the USS Discovery are sent to retrieve a mysterious 800-year-old Romulan vessel until the artifact inside is stolen, leading to an epic chase. Meanwhile, Saru is offered the position of a lifetime, and Tilly's efforts to help pull her into a tangled web of secrecy. The episode was written by Michelle Paradise, who is a executive producer and I believe the co-showrunner of the show, and directed by longtime Discovery director Olatunde Osunsanmi. No stardate is given for this episode, but we'll move on to the second episode, Under the Twin Moons. The synopsis is: on Saru's last mission as Captain Burnham's number one, the team ventures to a seemingly abandoned planet to hunt for what might be the greatest treasure in the galaxy. And it's not love. The episode was written by Alan.
We made along the way.
That's right, and we learned that that's true. The episode was written by Alan McElroy and directed by Doug Arniakowski, both Discovery veterans. And there is a star date for this episode. It is 866-274.3. And we usually do trivia here, but these episodes, they're very fresh. There isn't a lot of trivia. I will, of course, point out that the progenitors that are mentioned, the mysterious race at the center of this season's conflict, first appeared in the sixth season Star Trek TNG episode, The Chase. That's the Mad World one where they're racing to solve the DNA puzzle. These are kind of connected, but not exactly part one and two. But I guess we can just, talk about them together. So what'd you think about these episodes?
I liked them. I had a lot of fun. I think I liked the first episode better than the second.
Okay.
I was kind of surprised by the 2-episode premiere. I don't know if they had announced that beforehand or not.
Probably.
I think it's so Discovery of them to be like, we have an ancient future map, but not all the pieces.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah. I wrote somewhere in my notes that Star Trek Discovery is back, and it's more Star Trek Discovery than it's ever been. You think how are they going to go out? what's the fifth and final season going to be? And it's obviously we're going to be hunting for something all season. And then Michael and Book are going to be and Tilly's going to be doing wacky stuff, and it's just going to be, it is exactly what it is. So
Shot of the gigantic cat.
Yeah, right. The huge cat is.
I read that Grudge is played by 2 brother cats.
Oh, really?
Can you
They
believe
swap them
it?
out. Yeah. One for close-ups. He's the really handsome one, and then the other one's more active.
Yeah, he's better for face shots.
Yeah. So I mean, I didn't expect anything really all that different. It's. I guess it's an interesting reach back to that TNG thing. They're never going to stop
shocked.
Yeah, they're never going to stop reaching back. It's like they're them announcing that young Rachel Garrett. I don't give a shit about young Rachel Garrett. That doesn't make me excited to see this. They just want me to go, oh. And
that's the lady from before.
Yeah, and I'm sure it'll be fine. That actress has passed away, but I'm sure it'll be fine. But that doesn't. They think that they're really giving me some juice, and for maybe some fans they are, but that doesn't really matter to me. So I hope that they can add something interesting to this idea, because I think it's deceptively. Did I just bump my desk? I think it's deceptively a smart idea. It comes from
deceptively.
Well, let me explain what I mean. Because it comes from this idea of ancient aliens, which is sort of, a woo-woo kind of pseudoscientific thing, although maybe they exist. And this real scientific idea of panspermia, which is that life didn't originate here. It came from somewhere else, either intentionally or through the spread of organic molecules or genetic material. And nobody's really made a decision on that in our scientific community, but Joe Menosky and Ronald D. Moore, the writers of the episode, took that as like a prompt to go, well, what if we did like a kind of fun mad world thing where, you know, all the different races are trying to race to figure this out. And then they learn something about themselves, which has a memory alpha crunchy thing explanation, which is this is why all the aliens in our galaxy have chewing gum on their foreheads, but they still have two eyes and two hands, and because we're all come from the same stock. But also it's a chance for Picard to do a thing, because at the end of the episode he says, you know, maybe someday if the four of us races could all work together on this and learn that we're not so different and that we all come from the same place, maybe there's a chance at peace, you know, one day. And I don't know if is that what Discovery's doing? Immediately it's like, it's a weapon, it's something, it's the greatest power ever. It's like they put some jizz on all the planets. How is this the greatest power? What's the power? I don't know what they're talking about. But of course it has to.
I'm assuming, I was waiting for a line that was like, if it has the power to create life, it has the power to destroy it.
It's like Genesis. Yeah,
Which
right. Yeah.
kind of was like, okay, we're not going quite that deep into the like
so
movie
as
blockbuster.
Right, as they chase this, you know, Indiana Jones-esque MacGuffin, I hope that they can, you know, keep in sight that the same idea that was also in that episode, which is it's really about how maybe we shouldn't be killing each other because we're all brothers and sisters, or cousins at least. In these two episodes already, okay, so first episode, Star Wars, right? I mean, I'm not, you know, they're just using a lot of, they got speeder bikes, they're on a desert planet.
Okay, listen
you know.
though, I had the exact same thought, and then my follow-up thought was, people are going to say that this looks like Star Wars, and I totally get, because the imagery with
everything looks like Star Wars now, though.
Desert planet, yeah.
Yeah.
But what I feel like it is Star Trek, and if they could have done that in like TOS, they would have. You know what I mean? But now we have the technology.
Yeah.
So, but it is with the speeders and the like dust.
They definitely would have, because they had they were unconscious, or they were unrealized about their Orientalism. We should know better now. Why every time they go to a planet with a bazaar or a trading area, there's always like tents and like headscarves, and it's like, all right, like, you could literally do anything. It is
giving Dune.
You're better than, well, maybe that's what it was too. Maybe they had Dune vibes, but I think you're better than this, Discovery. And then the second was definitely like Indiana Jones, to the point where they find the thing and they're like, there's stuff on the back. Oh, Locke and Maul are digging in the wrong place. You know, we have the information that they don't. So, I wonder.
I love a good scene in the ruins, though. I'm living. I think it was great.
Yeah. Having Saru and Burnham like do their own little mission, you know, for his last day is like, it's kind of fun. So I'm wondering, like, if the following episodes will specifically have other things that they're trying to, like, we'll have a mummy episode or something like that, you know,
that would actually be hysterical.
Or if they'll try to just kind of keep this treasure hunter vibe going, because I think that fits in Star Trek.
Scooby-Doo thing, though, where they're like,
they're in a haunted house.
That in Earth history?
Yeah, right.
There's something called a mummy. And then they like unmask it, and they're like, "Oh, it was Locke all along."
Right? Yeah. They walk past the hologram, and like the hologram's eyes move to follow them.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about where the 32nd century is at this point, post season 4, because this is a setting now. Even though Discovery, we won't be focusing on them in the future when the show ends. Starfleet Academy will be set in the 32nd century. So we are going to continue, you know, in this setting. I think it's interesting. They've got this president character, you know, played by the same actress. They keep bringing her back. Well, I don't have to ask you. I think that they should expand the government. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I do.
If the president's going to be a character and they want to continue to use the the bureaucracy as a source for like storytelling and tension, then I think we need
Yeah.
more characters. Because the thing about Picard and the Enterprise, or Kirk and the Enterprise, is that they're not on Earth. They're always, sometimes they'll get a call from somebody, and every once in a while you'll see a Federation president. But I like that quadrant of the show, but I think we need more than just the one, lady. We need like a vice president or a minister of defense or something like that too.
I totally agree with you because I do get the urge, and this happens to me like every time I start a Discovery episode and they say they're 2 minutes in, they're like the burn. I'm like, God, I have to read up on the politics of the 32nd century now.
Yeah.
I can't remember anything,
Yeah.
which is like, I think maybe like 75% of me problem and maybe 25% that the show doesn't expand on like the government and what's going on. They're just like, well, that's over.
Yeah. It's amazing. The Breen are still like belligerent after 1,000 years. Like you think that it's like the Vulcans and the Romulans have gotten back together, but the Breen are still on their little helmets going, they're still like doing bad stuff. So like I hope that they get a chance, probably not in this season of Discovery, but in the future, to sort of build that out. I think you could really do that in Starfleet Academy, because presumably you'll have a bunch of like alien characters, right? Like I'd love to see a bunch of cadets who are
I would hope.
all from different worlds, some that we know, some new ones. What else? Cronenberg's back, baby. For some reason, they're still shooting in Canada.
Or was he phoning it in this episode?
How could you tell? I don't know how you could tell.
No hate to him.
Maybe a little bit. But yeah, he's back. I like the fact that we are drilling into the negative aspects of him, because before he was like the fun grandpa who, like, because he had all these connections, could get you what you needed and then give a little thing and then leave. But now it's like, no, he's a spy master. He's a guy who's got secrets.
Kill him.
Yeah, he's like, kill everybody, do whatever you want, it's fine. And it's like, I don't know if that's what we want to do.
I like it though. It's interesting because I liked watching Burnham be like, why is he ordering me to use lethal force?
We're Starfleet. Yeah.
I was like, hang on a sec.
So, yeah, and I wonder what his intense desire to get this thing would be. I mean, he and Starfleet in general have sort of labeled this thing, this incredible power that we need to get our hands on, or at least keep out of the hands of somebody else. And so I wonder if that's all it is, or if he's the person who has kind of classified it like this weapon of mass destruction, or if he's got some ulterior motive, for it. He's going to make his own life. Yeah, you're my life now. What his ultimate motives are. What did you think about the new character played by what's his name? I'm looking up his name. I can't find him. The new captain
Is
guy.
he in other stuff?
Yeah. What the hell is his name? The guy he's in Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, never seen it. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. We're gonna start a Galactage podcast after this.
I have a feeling. I've seen a lot. I have a few things to
Callum
catch up
something or other. I can't remember his name, but anyway.
Okay.
I didn't, since we're talking about both episodes.
Yeah.
I guess they got me. I didn't peg that that she would pick him as her XO, but I think.
Oh, really?
Well, I guessed everything else. But I think that's good. I think that's a good idea. Because I think it makes sense. I think I've never been in the military, but I would assume that the executive officer is either someone who is being kind of shepherded and groomed for a command position, or it's somebody who, for whatever reason, has never made captain.
Yeah.
And is like an old hand that's going to help, polish the commanding officer. And so having him there to be a guy who's like, I don't think so, Burnham. Because whenever Burnham says something, Saru's like, well, I think we could do that. But this guy's going to be like,
Saru's like, I'll make it work.
I don't know about that. So,
Yeah, I guess I wasn't particularly compelled by his performance. And
oh,
maybe it was just like maybe it was like what he was given to work with because I feel like a lot of his lines were like
no. I'm
yeah, they
mad.
were
No.
very much like don't look at me, well, think how they think.
Right.
Um
Yeah.
which is like that is difficult. Um I don't know.
Callum Keith Rennie as Captain Rayner. That's his name. Um, yeah, well, hopefully that will lead to some frisson, some interesting uh, moments and drama in the crew. What about Maul and Locke, the two new villain characters,
Bonnie and Clyde.
the Bonnie and Clyde?
I wanted like I like the bit like this is kind of obviously I'm having fun with it, but I was also like, all right, let's settle it down with the. She's like, we're all we only need each other. I was like, okay,
Yeah, I can't
because
believe that
that
you
just
used to
sounds
be
like
a
something
courier.
someone would say to me in like 11th grade. You know, someone's in a toxic relationship in like freshman year of college. Like I don't need anyone but him. You know.
That's what they're going for. So you nailed it. They got it right.
I don't
Um,
know. I mean,
what are they
they're
going to do
all
with this
right.
thing? Why do they want? I guess they want to sell it, but are we going to play in the future? Are we going to play into the fact that it's like they have no idea what this thing is? It's like they're trying to sell, like plutonium or something like that, and they just think that it's like expensive metal, and it's like, no, what are you
Well,
doing?
and why does she like know Book? Or
Because
like Book knows her? That's so
because
bizarre.
she was his uncle's father's brother's roommates, babysitter's third grade teacher. That's why. It's
He
like
also was like, I've never seen a birthmark like this on anyone else. And I wanted to be like, is the birthmark in the room with us? Like, did I miss it?
is it in the room right now? Um yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, it's also possible either you recognize somebody or you don't, right? Like people look
True.
different when they're adults, but there's like asking the I guess that you could do this in the future, but like asking ChatGPT to like show me a 9-year-old version of that person.
Have you ever
That
seen
seems a
those
little
like
dangerous, doesn't it?
you're
But
watching
if
like a mid true crime documentary and they're like, this is what this person would look
yeah,
like
yeah.
now.
It's better than him like if she was wearing like a mask and he sketches her face, but then he like puts his hand over and he's like, "Oh my god." This is just the future version of that, I guess. So it's fine.
And she bleached her hair.
So like so what does that set up then? Yeah, she bleached her hair. What does that set up then? Like he's gonna try to like save her, but then I guess like the other guy's Locke's gotta go then.
Well,
Like
I was like, we gotta put Book in the brig instantly. He needs to be locked up right away. Because what happened last season? Like, come on.
yeah, but he's
I
been
was like,
he's been
I'm
he's
done with him acting out. Like, I'm sorry to him. He's grieving, but like, I don't want to watch him like be crazy and like betray Burnham again
yeah.
because he that's his
This is look, this is
godfather's
just
his namesake's daughter. Like,
yeah, right.
please,
Yeah, this girl he knew one time.
yeah.
This is Discovery. The brig has like a Cheeto in the latch holding the door closed, like that. So
Yeah.
you can just get out. Um,
You can just walk right back out. It's a joke.
but yeah, I just wonder. Look, Book is he's been on probation. He's been good behavior. I'm sure he'll be fine. But immediately he's gonna run off. Um,
I honestly, these two episodes, I was like, I'm done. I don't know why, because I haven't watched Star Trek. I literally even it snuck up on me so much I didn't even rewatch last season before I watched these episodes.
yeah.
And during these episodes, my gut feeling, and I'm sorry to him, I don't know where this is coming from, but I was like, I'm fed up. I'm done with him.
uh, I think it's impressive though that he's a guy that they just added, last year, and I think that people like him, and he's, I think he does a good job. And
Yeah,
one
I
of the
mean, I
sad
don't
things about
dislike him.
yeah, one of the sad things about Discovery ending is like, these newer characters. Like, will we ever get to
Yeah.
see uh, book again, or
I don't want them to like end up together. And I'm worried that that's like endgame is they're gonna be like happily ever after.
oh, they
Book
definitely
and Michael
will,
are
though.
back together. And I like
Yeah.
don't really want to see that. And I didn't agree with the whole scene with Saru. Where I was also like, okay, we've had enough heartfelt conversations between Michael and Saru. I don't know why. Maybe I was just bitter today. I was like, I've had enough of the heart to hearts and the forehead touching, please.
There's no other way to do it. This
I think I was just
Discovery.
hungry while I was watching these episodes, and I was like,
Discovery's
enough.
Discovery. The way that they structure their story is just so. It's just so them. Like you can just smell it coming
You gotta love
because
it though. I
they
was
at the
like,
beginning
yeah,
of the
because it is so Indiana Jones.
well that too, but I mean like at the beginning of the episode, Saru's talking to his girlfriend, and he
Fiance.
well
Ooh, I got on the
fiance
bingo card.
yes and he's like, I got this job offer, and she's like, well, you should probably take it, or at least weigh the choices. And then he goes on this mission, and he's not even foreground. He's up on the ship. He is no part of anything that's going on. But there is this like intense
But
thing
they
where the two
filmed
ships,
this ship
do the
into the
lawn dart
ground.
thing and stop the
Yeah.
thing.
So in
And
a
then
way, something happened.
literally 2 minutes after that happens, and it's literally like the ship pulls in, and then he boop, just like teleports, and he goes, I was afraid I was thinking about death. You weren't thinking about death. The writers just went, we got to make sure that people know this is why he's doing it. Like he's making this decision based on that. And it's like, I don't need that, but that's how you structure the thing. And so I don't know.
It was so funny. I was watching that scene. I was completely gobsmacked. I was like eating like a chickpea wrap. And I think
Okay.
I was just like
That's
mouth
important.
open, like, are they getting married? What's happening? And my boyfriend was building a bookcase, and he turned to me and went, oh, she's Vulcan in the middle of it. And I was like, yeah.
If he got down on one knee, they'd see eye to eye. So
Yeah, they'd
should
be,
do
their
that.
heights would be level. Oh my God. Oh my God, wait, I have to tell you something else. Just because I love watching Star Trek with people who aren't like Star Trek fans.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the other thing he said was when they were talking and he was like, they're dating? And I was like, yeah. And he said, I just really thought that he was gay.
Okay.
And I love like seeing an alien and being like, that's clearly a gay
Is this a
alien.
gay alien?
That's obviously a gay alien.
Yeah, we don't see enough gay aliens. I agree.
I think, you know what? I'll say something controversial. I really think Star Trek could be gayer.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, but
We haven't reached peak queerness of Star Trek yet. It's coming.
right. But part of the notes that from the hedge fund managers who aren't producers that probably get input go, not
Settle
too
it
gay.
down.
We need straight money. You saw the Bud Light thing.
We need
We
the
don't want to
straight
go that. Yeah.
to come back for the ships.
What'd you think about Fred?
Oh my God, I was just about to ask you that. Okay, listen. Maybe I was just like hangry while I was watching these episodes because I love Data more than anybody. That's
Yeah.
my literal, I love Data, I love Spock. I love a little robot that pulls on your heartstrings.
Yeah.
When the grip that Soong style androids have on Star Trek and
Yeah.
the universe like that they're living in is unreal.
Yeah.
They were like, he's really into vintage tech, and it cuts to Fred, and I was like, he is vintage tech.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking
Yeah. That's one of the, well, that's something that Picard season 1 tried to address.
Yeah.
I don't know if they did it successfully, but the thing about Data is that Data is singular, unique,
Yeah, he's one of a kind.
except for
Yeah.
Lore and
Except for
before
Lore.
and his mom. But but if Data or a Data, a singular datum, can live forever and can make new Datas, then 1,000 years from now, did they win? Like the entire galaxy would be Datas. So like, I like the fact that there was a Data, but the fact that everybody was like, oh yeah, this is one of those androids. That kind of means like maybe the androids
There's
things don't go
more,
too well in
yeah.
the future. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a sucker for it. I was like, wake him up.
Yeah, right.
I know he's
We're
not
on the
dead.
side.
Wake
Yeah.
him up.
Right. Yeah.
Plug him back in.
Yeah, we'll
He's in
never see him
charge.
again, and it's true. Like, you didn't like him, but if you go off of Data's a sentient being, then this guy's. We should probably try to save his life and rebuild
Yeah.
him. Yeah, maybe they'll
I
rebuild
know
him.
when
I
they
don't
were
know.
like, "Let's take this," I was like, "All right, it's
Have
not
a
a jump drive.
have a Fred walking around the ship. That could be fun.
Wake him up, but put him in Saru's quarters. They're empty. They're full of
Right?
plants."
Yeah. or that or Rainer will get Saru's court. It's like, what are these friggin' plants doing in here? Get these out of here. I want whiskey and old ships and things.
What is he like? What's his deal? I can't. Is he like a Vulcan Romulan teacher
I
person?
don't know. I think that he's a new species. I'll have to look that up.
Okay,
I
I was
didn't
like, did
check
he
that.
have like his ears done? Like, is that just like the style?
Yeah,
For
hey, it could be.
Vulcan Romulans in the future.
Sure,
You get
cosmetic.
that little thing taken out.
Yeah, I think it looks good with my hair and yeah. What else?
What's going on with Tilly?
Yeah, so Tilly, I think Tilly's in a holding pattern because
She was gone
yeah,
for
well
ages.
she's working at Starfleet Academy, and I don't think they want to say or do too much with that because they're still developing the show.
But do
But
you think that she's gonna be like? Is the long game here that she's gonna be in the Starfleet Academy show?
oh yeah, she's cast. She will be in that show.
I thought I would have. That's
it's
so funny.
from what I understand, it's built around her. Is what from what I understand. So
Okay, well, I need to
um,
read the news before I get on this
we've
show.
talked about that before.
I have no memory.
Well, that's the thing. There's
That was
so
5 months ago. It's
I don't
gone.
blame you. There's so many shows. We're so blessed or cursed
We, I
with this
do.
bounty. There's so many shows. It's
I'm
so
so
hard
grateful.
to keep track of
Bounty is a
everything.
great word.
It's one thing if like a show's on for a season and then it goes off and you go, oh, what's going to happen when it comes back? And then it comes back. Now there's like show after show after show after show. What about this? What about Action Saru?
Please.
You are paid to write. You can't come up with something better than Action Saru.
I know. I was like, I've
He's
had
a
enough.
he's a Kilpian. He's Kilt
Kilpian?
Chamberlain. Kilt Chamberlain. The Pale Horseman.
That's good.
He's a you better pray species. Look, just in 10 seconds I came up with that. Action Saru.
Yeah, I was a bit like, okay. But I feel like sometimes the live action Star Trek shows lately, they kind of trend a little. Sometimes they like a little chuggy like nickname. Like I was kind of like, okay, this is making I'm not
Chugi in the
there.
wild. Tell us more. Tell us more.
I don't think I can elaborate.
Okay.
I was just like, I was watching it and I was like, yeah, a millennial wrote this. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow. Oh, God. Now I feel really old. Yeah, those millennials. Okay, boomers.
No hate, but I was like, it's like whoever wrote that like read Harry Potter fan fiction when they were 14.
Okay.
And I know because
yeah,
I'm a cusp and I've been there.
I can see that. I can see that. What else? The show, I mean, at this point, it seems silly to say how good it looks. I mean, it still looks, fantastic. And I think the show has only gotten better looking as it's gone on.
Do they have the frame rate upped, or is that like a factory setting on my TV that I haven't changed?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
Because on my TV, it looks like they had upped the frame rate, but I
Yeah.
haven't in my TV because I just moved. So my TV has been in storage for like 2 years.
Okay.
So it could have just been that the factory settings were like that, and I never changed it.
Sure. Sure.
But I was watching it, and it was giving so soap opera because I had been watching on my computer, and then I switched to the TV.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
when I turned the TV on, it was Saru's like proposal scene,
Yeah.
and so I was like, "It's very soap opera in here."
Maybe that's what it is then. Yeah. Because it looks good on mine because I don't have that setting
Okay, okay.
on.
That's a me problem, and I'll work on that.
Yeah, like just try to think about if you were like a producer on, I don't know, Deep Space Nine, and the kind of speeder bike chase you had in your head, and then you brought it to the production manager, and he's like, "We're not doing that." You can have them come in and go, "Whew, that was a crazy chase." We can't do
Yeah.
that, but they can
Well,
literally
and you
do
know
whatever they
that
want now.
if they could have had William Shatner on a space motorcycle and a leather jacket in the original series, he would have been on there. It would have been
Oh,
every season.
every season. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And JJ Trek, you know what the first thing is that they did? They put that man on a motorcycle.
That's right. Well, first he was in a classic car, but yeah, yeah. Um, but that being said, I wish that they would like, you know, try to do a little more with those sets. Um, there was that. Remember that episode of Strange New Worlds where they went to the planet and there's like a field that made them forget who they were. Um, and so they had to just work or whatever. It's like the work will
Yes.
save us.
Yes.
Farscape did it first, and
I
and
feel
they
like it's so like Greek tragedy.
yeah yeah, and they were like there's like this castle thing, and they went in the castle, and there's some really
Yeah.
great sets on that show, and I like the fact that they took that interesting setting and they just spent their whole time there. In the
Mhm.
second episode, they introduce it's not Romulan, but it's I can't remember what race it is, but it's like an alien necropolis, you know, with like these giant statues, you know, they're shooting drones and lasers, and there's like these um, cenotaphs with like these glyphs and stuff, and it's like that's really cool. And they just spend all of their time just running through it, and it's like, oh man, bring four people with you and just wave things around for a while. Do a Star
Yeah, I
Trek, you
know.
know?
I was going feral when I saw that big hand. I
Yeah,
was like, "Oh, this is gonna be good."
yeah, yeah.
Because it felt so like,
Statue
you
comes
know, in
down.
Lord of the Rings when they see the like
The
head off of the
Argonath.
thing.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. That
yeah.
too. Yeah, yeah. Um,
The Argonath too. That was a good one.
yeah. Long have I longed to look upon the kings of yore.
Yeah.
What is this? Keep on Tolkien. Let's keep on moving. So they're figuring out puzzles. There's probably going to be a
Mhm.
puzzle every week. Um, man, it's hard to make like one or two good puzzles. So I'm sure these puzzles are going to be real crappy. But hopefully they'll come
I'm
up with
sure.
some neat puzzles.
Mhm.
It's I love the fact that this doesn't persist because this ends in the first episode, but the literal thing that what are they going to do in Discovery season 5? The literal thing they're after is a puzzle box. It's literally a mystery box.
I know. What's the? I didn't. I literally. I finished the episode like 2 minutes before I came on here, and I didn't Google it. But there's like a name for those like puzzle things that
Okay.
are shaped like that.
Okay.
Like that's like a thing.
Oh, in real
I mean, they're not.
life?
It's not a map. I don't know how this map is gonna work. I'm sure they'll plug it in. They're gonna like scan it and haul it over the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Or it's like a thing that you play with at Cracker Barrel or something like that, like a little
Yeah. Exactly.
toy or you get from the
Yeah.
science museum. Yeah. But anyway, so they're literally use a puzzle box to find clues to other puzzles, and it's like J.J. Abrams watches this by himself, like in a locked room, you know. But I mean, that's this. It's funny because, and I'm sure we'll be talking about this a lot through the last season of Discovery. But whatever Star Trek is currently, or what it's becoming, or what it will become, this is a Discovery has always been a snapshot of what we wanted from Star Trek, in 2015, 16, oh God, whenever it first started coming out. And so
How many years
it's been
ago?
fascinating to see it do what it's doing and what it's always done. It's always been Discovery and will continue to be, I think. We're not done, but I was going to ask you here at the beginning of the end of Star
Yeah.
Trek Discovery, what are you looking for from a last season of Discovery?
Oh. Um. This is tough because I wasn't really today as I was watching episodes, I wasn't like, what do I want from them? But I was like, are they gonna kill Saru like before he could be married, or is somebody gonna die? Like I feel like there's gonna be a big character death.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned about that. Um, but I at the same time I'm like, well, they're not gonna pass up the opportunity for like a wedding episode, right? Like we're gonna get that.
So DS9, no spoilers, I guess, but DS9, Voyager, a character loss, but not a death.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Enterprise, we all know that. So, like, yeah, the last couple, classic Trek finales have featured somebody saying goodbye for good. So
Mm-hmm.
that's possible.
I would like. I don't want to like and not, I think I would have this problem even if it wasn't book, even though it's for today I was annoyed by book for some reason. I don't really want Michael's end to be like, and she fell in love. Like,
Okay. Yeah.
I, the Saru's relationship I think was so unexpected and so interesting, obviously, with both of them being like such different types of aliens.
Yeah.
Um, but I would like that and oh my god, and Anthony Rapp and the Doctor. Why can't I? Hugh and
Culber.
Stamets. My god.
Stamets and Culber. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I would like them to be sort of like where we have gotten the like romance from this show.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Um, yeah, I mean, what do you think?
It's hard for me to answer as well. I think that it's weird because the show spent half of its time, or most of its time, in, or what was it? No, it was the end of season 2. So it spent some of its time in the past, and now it's in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And so its legacy in terms of what it's dealing with in the world of Trek was kind of severed. So as far as that goes, like I said before, I'd like to see them take this opportunity on the way out to really set the table and make
Mm-hmm.
the 32nd century more of a location than just, oh, we're in the future and we can do holograms and stuff like that. I like them to really
Mm-hmm.
make that richer. You think about all, and they've only got a little bit of time, but you think about all the source books and maps and all the tie-in novels and everything that's just written about
Yeah.
that slice of the galaxy from classic Star Trek. So I'd like to see them like set a foundation for that.
Mm-hmm.
As far as character stuff goes, I don't know. I've kind of given up on, I don't know, Oshikun or any of the side characters,
Yeah.
Bryce, any of the side characters really getting anything. So I think I'd agree with you that I hope it doesn't, and I don't think it will, but I hope it doesn't end with like she finds love or something like that. I also hope it doesn't end with her making Admiral or something like that. It's like
Yeah. Well, do
we
you think
need,
this she'll go back? Like, do you think they'll
oh,
find
back in
like the,
time.
yeah,
Oh,
with like the secret of life, like this powerful technology? Like, do you think they'll be able to like send her back?
how is it going to send her back?
I don't know.
We're
But
gonna,
why is it a weapon if it creates life?
well, yeah, right, yeah. Well, I mean, like you said with the Genesis
They
thing.
create COVID, send it back in time.
Oh no, no!
Cut
Why
to
would you
black
do that,
credits.
Star Trek? Um, I was just thinking the other day, they're never going to pay off Calypso, are they? Remember the short trek where the guy's dancing with the computer and and the
None.
ship has been waiting for 1,000 years in a nebula or whatever like that, and you go
Yeah,
like, oh,
none.
that's their setup for the 32nd century. They're never ever gonna. That's an alternate timeline at this point. They're not gonna pay that off.
Mm-mm.
I wish they'd find a way to do that. I just hope Stacey Abrams doesn't come back. No, I don't know. I would like to revisit this question when I see a little more of the season and get an idea of where they're
Mm-hmm.
going. But I just hope that they keep doing what they're doing. I don't think that they should, try to please anybody. Um,
No, and I'm happy so far with the setup of the season, even though it was so like
yeah,
it's so funny to be like, that's so Discovery to be
uh,
like, we have to hunt down the pieces of the map, and there's these two
it
criminals that we're
it
chasing.
literally couldn't be anything else. So
Yeah, I
and
love it.
instead of one book, we got 2 books this season. So there you go.
Yeah.
Get those criminals. Well, if that's it for you, that's it for me, I think. That's it for our show this week. Thanks for joining us, listeners. And if you like what you hear, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter at EISTPOD for updates and to get notified when new episodes of both Enterprising Individuals and Discoverage are released. You can tweet to us on the show using the hashtag Discoverage, or you can email us at EISTPOD@gmail.com. And while you're on the internet, head to your listening platform of choice and subscribe to our show feed. Give us a rating and a review. It really does help us out. And if you want to help the show grow, stop by the Patreon page at patreon.com/EISTPOD. And as always, if you like the show, tell a friend. Discoverage will return next week on February 11th at 8 p.m. for the 3rd episode of Discovery's 5th season, an episode entitled Janal. We don't know anything about the episode, but we'll be here next Thursday to cover it and going live once again at 8 p.m. Central. So join us then. Don't forget to hit the heart and the bell icon below the video on Twitch or the like and subscribe buttons on YouTube while you're here so you can get notified when we are live and broadcasting. And follow us on Twitter or Facebook. Or on, Blue Sky, Threads, Mastodon, all those places at EISTPOD. And that's it. Ella, thanks as always for joining me to talk about tonight's episodes of Discovery and remind people where they can find you online.
Thank you. My Twitter is @GondorGold. Tweet at me about Formula One and Star Trek.
Yeah, and remind her what happened in season 4 because she couldn't remember. I'm at KA1IBAN on Twitter. And of course, as I mentioned, the show is at EISTPOD on Twitter. That is it for us. We're up and running again for another final season of Star Trek Discovery. So continue to join us as we talk about it. We're signing off for this week. This is Aaron for Ella saying live long and prosper.